The glass walls of Zila Media's boardroom gleamed in the Victoria Island sun. Reni Adebayo stood at the head of the table, heart thumping as the CEO pinned a new placard under her name, Head of Strategy. Applause echoed. Her face remained poised, but her fingers clenched behind her anchor folder. From intern to executive, it had taken 8 relentless years, long nights, and the quiet confidence of a woman raised in Soyalir who knew her worth. Later, in the parking lot, her phone buzzed. "Tunji, you did it, baby. My lioness. Can't wait to toast to you tonight." She smiled, typing back quickly. "Come home early. I got a mala and fireworks." But he didn't come home early. The food got cold. The wine remained sealed. Reni curled on the couch in their Orchid Road duplex, scrolling through her old campaign decks, replaying her boss's praise, waiting for keys to jingle in the door. When Tunji finally arrived past midnight, he looked tired, his hug distracted. "Sorry. Long call with the South Africa team," he muttered, heading straight to the bedroom. Reni stared after him, her smile dimming. She walked to the tall living room window, pressing her palm against the cold glass. From the outside, everything looked perfect. Inside, something had shifted. Monday came wrapped in Lagos humidity and tinted ambition. At Zila Media HQ, Reni stepped off the elevator into a corridor flooded with glass and soft jazz. Amaka, her ever-attentive assistant, trailed behind her with coffee and gossip. "Have you met the new legal advisor?" Amaka asked, nudging a tablet toward Reni. "Adana Nwachukwu came in last Friday, from Abuja. And guess what? Full on designer heels at 8 a.m. Reni smiled politely, barely glancing at the woman's glossy profile. "Another compliance hire." "Noted." But hours later, in the boardroom, Reni looked up from her slides, and there she was. Adana, cool-tone power suit, low ponytail, high cheekbones, eyes like surveillance cameras. Her voice, silk-lined with steel, carved through the discussion. Efficient, charming, strategic. Afterward, Reni found herself alone at the glass coffee bar when Adana approached. "Congrats on your promotion. Your reputation precedes you." Reni nodded, guarded. "Welcome to the jungle." Their eyes met, not unfriendly, but not quite warm. That evening, Tunji returned home early for once. He placed a takeaway pack on the table, kissed Reni's cheek, and poured wine. They laughed. It almost felt normal again. But later, when Tunji's phone lit up on the nightstand, Reni caught the preview. "Adana N, thanks again for your insights. Let's continue tomorrow." Reni's brow furrowed. Tunji noticed. "She's working with my firm, too. Small world. Huh?" She nodded slowly. "Very." But something inside her shifted. Not jealousy. Instinct. The kind that doesn't need proof. Just glass. The days blurred into each other like Lagos traffic after rain. Shiny, deceptive, slow to clear. Tunji's goodnight kisses turned into forehead pecks. His phone stayed on silent, screen always facing down. When he smiled, it no longer reached his eyes. Reni noticed. She always noticed. One evening, while waiting for a pitch review to upload, she spotted Amaka whispering near the pantry, eyes flicking toward the legal wing. Reni raised an eyebrow. Amaka straightened. "I just think it's odd," Amaka muttered. "Adana's always in your space, always asking about Tunji's tech audits. She's legal counsel. They overlap." Reni's tone was crisp, but her heart whispered something else. Later, at home, Reni leaned against the cold kitchen counter, watching Tunji pour wine like he used to, except his hand trembled slightly. He was talking, but her mind was elsewhere, looping through moments like a slideshow. Adana brushing past Tunji at the landmark networking night. The delayed replies. That one Sunday when Tunji lied about being at the gym but came home wearing cologne. Kimi noticed too. Over suya and soft drinks in her Yaba flat. She tilted her head. Men like Tunji don't fall loud. They fall in quiet gestures. You sure he hasn't already landed somewhere else? Reni didn't flinch. Not yet, but something's off. Kimi reached for her phone. "Then get ahead of it. I know someone. Discreet. Efficient." Reni looked out at the Yaba skyline, rusty rooftops, and all, then nodded slowly. "Give me the number." His name was Okchukwu Oki-Njoku, former SSS, now a private investigator with a modest setup tucked behind Tejuosho Market. The kind of place you wouldn't look twice at unless you were desperate for truth. Reni didn't hesitate. They met in a cramped office smelling of paper and roasted groundnuts. A ceiling fan squeaked above. Oki leaned forward, professional but calm. "Just say what you want to know, Ma." Reni folded her arms. "I want facts. No assumptions. I want to know where Tunji goes when he says he's at meetings. I want timestamps. And if Adana is part of it, I want clarity." Oki nodded once. 3 days. Back at Zila, the glass wall began to feel like mirrors, reflecting what she didn't want to see. Adana was everywhere. In meetings, passing comments, occasionally walking side by side with Tunji during shared lunch breaks. Amaka whispered, "They were in the lower car park for 20 minutes yesterday. Talking. But not talking." Reni said nothing, but her stomach sank. On Wednesday, a flash drive slid into her palm during a casual pass in Freedom Park. Oki didn't speak, just tipped his cap and vanished into the crowd. That night, Reni sat at a dining table, wine untouched, laptop glowing. Click. Footage. Lobby cameras. Date stamp. 2 days ago. Adana and Tunji. Close. Too close. He brushed her lower back as she laughed and leaned in. Not yet a kiss. But enough. She paused the video and stared at their frozen smiles behind glass. No tears. No rage. Just a single word in her mind. Calculated. The rain hit the Lekki rooftops like applause. Loud, rhythmic, mocking. Reni sat in her home office, blind half-drawn, eyes fixed on the laptop screen. The flash drive glowed faintly beside her, like a truth she could no longer ignore. She watched again. Clip 1. Tunji and Adana at the Zila parking lot, laughing too easily, standing too close. Clip 2. An elevator reflection, his hand grazing her waist. She didn't flinch. She smiled. Timestamp, 8:12 p.m. He told Reni he was in Ikoyi. "Late strategy call," he said. She remembered replying, "Eat something." Now she wanted to eat the lie. The final clip hurt most. Landmark Cafe, their favorite. Tunji held Adana's wrist. She leaned across the table. Their faces closed a gap, but stopped just shy of kissing. Restraint. Or calculation. By the time the sun rose over the lagoon, Reni had everything sorted. She drafted 3 emails. 1 to Zila's HR, 1 to the board, 1 to Tunji's firm. Each contained the clips, timestamps, and badge logs, delivered with surgical precision. Subject line, professional misconduct involving legal counsel. Her finger hovered before she hit send. Then she walked to the mirror, adjusted her twist out, and smiled faintly. "I'm not broken," she whispered. "I'm awake." She hit send, and just like that, silence became strategy. The Landmark Center glittered like a Lagos night sky dress for tension. Guests in sequins and velvet spilled into the ballroom beneath chandeliers shaped like shooting stars. Reni arrived in silence, draped in gold silk, her twist-out coif like royalty. Heads turned. Her aura said power. Her eyes said distance. Amaka whispered, "You look like a woman with receipts." Reni's lips curved. The event was Zila Media's annual gala, a celebration of innovation. The board was present. Clients. Competitors. The kind of crowd that fed off image. Then came the moment. Tunji walked in. On his arm, Adana, clad in a blood-red gown, all smirks and diamonds. Their fingers brushed like a signal. They hadn't seen Reni yet, but the room had. She stood calmly near the stage, hand wrapped around a flute of champagne. When they locked eyes, Tunji's face drained. Adana froze. Reni didn't flinch. She simply nodded once, elegant, deadly. Later, the MC called her up to present the Integrity and Leadership Award. She took the MIC, voice velvet, and steel. "Integrity," she said, scanning the crowd, "isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It lives in what we do when no one's watching. Behind closed doors. Behind glass walls." A hush swept through the ballroom. Tonight, I dedicate this to every woman who has ever been made to doubt her instincts. May you always trust your silence, even when others are busy performing truth. Applause thundered, but her eyes stayed locked on Tunji and Adana. This wasn't revenge. It was reckoning with grace. By morning, the storm had begun. Zila's HR inbox lit up with flagged footage. The board's group chat pinged nonstop. At Tunji's firm, an internal audit was triggered. The phrase conflict of interest rolled through offices like thunder on 3rd Mainland Bridge. Adana was the first to feel it. Her access badge blinked red the parking gate. Within hours, she was called in, her voice calm, her eyes guarded. Tunji? He didn't show up to work at all. Rumor said he'd taken unpaid leave. Truth? He was hiding behind tinted windows in his G-Wagon parked somewhere along Admiralty Road. Phone off, heart pounding. Reni sat at Zila HQ, reviewing brand proposals like nothing happened. Her gold bangles clinked softly as she scrolled, poised, unreadable. A marker dropped a file on her desk. Adana's gone. Terminated. Reni didn't look up. And Tunji? On review, the board is watching. Reni closed the laptop gently. Let them. At home, Tunji waited for her that evening. No bravado, no excuses. Just silence. She stood in the doorway of their cold, perfect duplex. I never meant. He started. She raised a hand. Save it. You didn't just betray me. You embarrassed yourself. He reached for her. She stepped back. Reni, we can fix this. No, she said softly. You broke it. I'm just choosing not to live inside the glass anymore. She walked to the bedroom, packed only what mattered. A laptop, a blue velvet notebook. Peace. Ikoyi was quieter than Lekki, less performance, more space to breathe. Reni's new apartment overlooked the lagoon, its balcony framed by soft drapes and bougainvillea. The scent of sea breeze and hibiscus floated through the air as she arranged her books by the window, one hand cradling a warm cup of Zobo tea. No marble floors, no glass walls to reflect someone else's lies. Just wood, fabric, stillness, and truth. She'd file for divorce quietly. No drama. Just clause 4.7 of the prenup. Infidelity nullifies shared assets. Her lawyer said it was the cleanest exit he'd ever seen. Zila Media offered her sabbatical. She declined. I've spent enough time being still for others. It's time to move forward for me. She met with Kimi on the rooftop of a new art space in Yaba. They talked about starting a strategy consultancy for women-led brands. Let's build something no one can unbuild, Kimi said. Reni smiled, eyes catching the reflection of herself in the window. Not polished, not broken, just whole. Later that evening, she posted her first photo in months. A soft selfie in natural light, books in the background, golden hour on her skin. Caption: Living well isn't revenge. It's recovery. Hash behind the glass. Within minutes, the likes rolled in. But Reni wasn't watching. She was curled in her favorite chair, pen in hand, writing new plans. Plans that had nothing to do with betrayal and everything to do with beginning.